Here we are. Here we are in the month of love. Have you noticed? Have you heard anything about it? Out there in the world and here at the New Vision Center, we have an annual theme, and our annual theme this year is celebrating our spiritual awakening. And we are going to anchor into that activity every month through a different concept, through a different idea. In January, we looked at new thought, and this month it is through love. It is through this quality, this activity that is so often misunderstood, isn't it? Just before service today, we were talking, and I was saying that I think Valentine's Day might be the most hated day. You know, if you're not in a relationship, it's like, If you are in a relationship and things are not going so well, it's like, If you are in a relationship, things are going well, and he doesn't get you the chocolate you want, it's like, So it's hard to win on that day, isn't it? Oh, the guys are clapping. They're like, right? Yeah. It's really, really hard to win on one of those days. And today, we are going to enter into a very intimate conversation about love, about the love that is permeating the universe. We heard it so beautifully expressed in our opening prayer. It is everywhere present. And I thought, since it is a very intimate conversation, I am going to invite all of us to rise up in a moment and just look around and take a look at the people that are in this community today with whom we are going to have this intimate conversation. So please rise up. Without talking, we don't just look around. Look at the beloveds that are here. Look out into the camera, the people that are around here. And just notice, this is who we're having a conversation with today. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. So the title, Raising the Veil, is actually not a title that came from me. A couple of weeks ago, Jeff asked if the men's group and in support of the Rick Bainey today could sing this song, and I thought, Raising the Veil, that sounds like a good title. And so that is how it came about, and we don't know who's underneath that veil. We might reveal it at the end, we'll see. And so I asked myself, what does this idea of a veil, what does it signify? And I ask you to take a moment and think about, when you hear that, raising the veil, what comes up for you? Have you had an experience where you were either with a beloved or had the experience yourself that this veil, this idea of that there's something between us and the divine, because that is what the veil is referring to, was thinning or it had been lifted? So take a moment and think about that. When have you ever felt so one with that which is said to be behind the veil? For me, I had the honor to walk a couple of times with beloveds as they made their transition. And most recently, it was with Paul McNeese. As you might know, about a month ago, we let everyone know that Paul was completing his time here on this planet. And so for about a week, every day, often twice a day, I would sit with Paul. And I would be with him. And I could see through that progression of that week how the veil was getting thinner and thinner. And one it was the day before he passed away. His roommate, who's also a vet, and he has a brain injury, and he was living with Paul to support each other. He came in, he's a very strong, big man, and he kneed next to the bed, and he said, Paul, have you seen any angels yet? And the most beautiful smile came on Paul's face. And he opened his eyes, and he said, I am seeing them right now. That is how it feels when there's no separation. I often can tell when I get to that place because I start welling up, crying. So we're going to do a little history, because I was asking myself, where does this come from? Why do we call it a veil? And in the Old Testament times, the tabernacle in which the Jewish people worshipped and prayed consisted of three main parts: the outer court, the inner court, or holy place, and the most holy place, the Holy of Holies. The general congregation was welcomed in the outer court. The priest had access to the inner court, but only the high priest could go behind the veil that separated the inner court from the Holy of Holies. And this was the place where the presence of God was manifest. Now, I love this teaching because we are all invited into that most inner place. There is no place where the congregation just can go and then maybe the ministers and then maybe the senior ministers. No. This teaching clearly invites all of us, every single one of us, to be in close connection with the divine, to lift the veil, to move it aside, to thin it, whatever we can do. It says it in the very thing that we believe. You know, in 1927, Ernest Holmes wrote these wonderful statements, the Declaration of Principles and what we believe. And since then, every month in this magazine, the Science of Mind magazine, these statements are reprinted. Since 1927. That's a long time. And I think there's 13 statements, and the two that are very applicable today is, we believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. That means you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and me, and every person. No exception. We are all individualizations of the one Spirit. Yes? Hopefully that's not news to you. Hopefully you know this. Hopefully you have heard us say this over and over in oh so many ways. We always look for new ways to share that truth. There's only one life. There's only one. And the second principle, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. And they are our instructions. They are our instructions. We know that God is all there is. It is everywhere. And how can I place myself in direct revelation of that truth? Through practice. Through practice. Every day, asking ourselves, am I willing to truly believe that I am whole, perfect, and complete, just the way I am and just the way I am not? Regardless of how the hair looks, how the words come out, whatever else is going on? Am I willing to take a stand, to rise up and take a stand that I am one in the divine, that God resides within me, as it does in every person? For when we really, truly believe that, and we meet another, we meet from that place of the Most High. If I truly believe that God is made manifest in each and every one of you, beloveds, of the people who are watching on live stream, of the people who are driving down Tatum Boulevard or who live in a totally different place, if I truly believe that, how would I treat them? Would I treat them differently? And all of it is truly a reflection of how I feel about myself, isn't it? I can only give the love to another that I have for my own self. I can only give the respect to another that I have for myself. When we get in contact with that bright light that is the divine, that is at the center of our being, it can be overpowering. I think we have a quote that says, "Love is the self-givingness of the spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. Love is free from condemnation, even as it is free from fear. Love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible." It is a cosmic force. It is so overpowering at times when we get in contact with the pure love that is at the center of everything, of everyone, that it has the capacity to break our hearts open, to leave us very raw. For we are taking down the protection mechanisms, the walls, the masks. And that is why this is such an intimate conversation. Because when we enter into a spiritual community, we are willing to do that work in public. And that makes us raw. If we are standing for love, if we are standing for, I have nothing to hide, if one is not practiced in standing in that place with someone, trust can get hurt really bad. If we come to an interaction having all of our defenses down and meet with another who's not in that place, it can be painful. And that is why we practice with our own self. We practice in spiritual practice, in meditation, in prayer, in centering, in chanting. We practice standing with the light that is at the center of each of us. So that we recognize it when another comes with us without defenses, and we can meet them there. And so that is the rose ceremony that we have planned for today. I want to say that if I could invent technology that would allow our folks on the live stream to smell the beautiful scent of these roses, I would invent it, but I don't know how to do that. So please take our word for it. And so we are going to enter into a sacred ceremony where we are affirming for ourselves that we are willing to go behind the veil, around the veil, thin the veil, whatever works for you. And we will rise up and stand in that light. So I ask our Rose team to please come forward and join me. And in a moment, I'm going to ask each and every one of you to come forward, receive a rose. We have someone passing out roses in the back. If it's hard for people to get to the front, Gina, would you do that, please? Thank you so much. And in a moment, when you come up and receive the rose, just take it back to your seat, and then we're going to go ahead and enter into the ceremony. So let's do this in such a cool, orderly fashion. Maybe coming down this way, receiving a rose, going back. You guys know how to do this. Go ahead, come. Receive a rose. Perfect. Receive a rose. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to make sure that everyone has a rose. Everybody on the live stream, do you have roses? Would you do me a favor and take them back to the live stream? Thank you. Oh, they got them? They got them. Perfect. Everybody has a rose. Yes. You guys did awesome. That took 4 minutes. That was wonderful. Great. And so this rose ceremony is dedicated to every person who's ready to expand their self-love container, that inner space that holds the love we desire and that is available in every moment. This rose ritual is designed to gently grow our inner space by filling it up with love and trust and respect, with a devotion often reserved and given only to others. We take this time to increase and develop the sacred space within. The first part of the ritual is very personal, and then we're going to share it with others. So please repeat after me. I accept the active love of Spirit in me. And in all of my relationships. I know it heals and nourishes me. I am now open to notice it even more. Now I would like you to take your flower and look at it carefully. Become acquainted with it. Notice if it has any thorns left or if they all have been trimmed away. Smell it and notice if it has any scent. Take a moment and revel in beauty, in the freshness and the aliveness that is made manifest by this rose. Now closely look at this rose that you are holding and find a flaw in it somewhere. It may not be perfectly symmetrical. Maybe there's a bent leaf or a little brown spot someplace. And these roses are very much like every one of us. They are grown and designed to be perfect, and they are perfect individuals. They also have flaws, which rather than making them less beautiful, contributes something to the beauty and the uniqueness that they are. Now I want you to put your rose together with someone else who's close by. Maybe turn around or find someone and look at them in silence. And as you look at them, I want you to notice that neither of them becomes less beautiful because they are together. In fact, they seem to have more beauty to give to the world than just one rose plus another and maybe another. That is the blessing of being in community. As we come together, we remain the unique individuals that we are, and we have so much more beauty to share with the world. Now look at the roses one more time, and I want you to notice something about them, and that is that just because they are together, their flaws do not disappear. And fortunately or unfortunately, this is also true for being in community. People often think that being in the two or more will automatically dissolve any flaws, or at least the other people's flaws. I have yet to see that happen. So I invite all of us to anchor ourselves in the whole beauty of a rose and let it serve as a portal to remind us that love is always present. So take your rose back, take another look at it. And now whenever you see a rose or smell one, or give one or more to another, let it be an acknowledgement of the beauty of one another and of the gift of belonging. So we invite you to hold it close through the rest of this message and allow it to remind you that you have the power to live in an atmosphere where the veil is thin. One thought at a time, one action at a time, one choice at a time, one word at a time. Thank you for being in this conversation. Thank you. a devotional ceremony like this, a ritual, is a reminder for us to bring it into our lives at every day. We don't need to have a rose every day and take a look, although that could be fun, that could be nice. But slowing down enough in the morning, maybe, to become aware that the light, that the love, that the divinity that is everywhere present is within me, helps us to start our days on such a different foot. Let's see if we can see who's underneath that veil. Oh, there she is. Right? This is my granddaughter, for those of you who don't know, and she comes with me every time I speak. And Thich Nhat Hanh says, at any moment you have a choice that either leads you closer to spirit or further away from it. Every day, every moment, we make the choice. May you make choices that connect you to your inner light, that allow you to feel aligned with your purpose, that allow you to give your gifts generously and easily. May you feel supported in all your endeavors. May you experience a synchronicity that inspires you. May we heal, may we thrive, may we rise. And may we find awe and wonder every time we are willing to go beyond the veil to the place of the inner sanctuary, to the place of the Most High. I trust that you make those choices with me, with us. Thank you. And so let's make one of those choices right now. Let us come together as I invite the practitioners of this teaching to please rise, the practitioner students, as we hold the consciousness of the deep knowingness of the one power, the one present, the presence that is everywhere, all the time. As we hold the knowingness that the highest God and the innermost God truly is one God, it is one and the same. It is sweet spirit. It is God. It is love. It is light. And so from this place of knowingness, of feeling the truth, I simply bless this moment, knowing that the portal is wide open for each of us, for all mankind. That every time we make a choice to lean in a little bit more into the God of our understanding, into the light, we allow the world to rise up. And so all that there is left to do is to feel the gratitude for all that has transpired here, for the feelings, the deep knowingness that right where I am, the divine is. Right where you are, the divine is. Thank you, life. Thank you, life. And we anchor this truth together as we say, and so it is.